Hey guys, this video is going to be all about Dawson's birth story. It's a doozy. He was born May 24th, 2017 at 1:54 p.m. So this will just be all about that.
Well, that morning, I was 5 days past my due date, and I was already on maternity leave, and really anxious to have him because I was missing work and doing nothing but waiting on him. So our midwife had given us the okay to take a cocktail, and they gave us the recipe and everything. So we went to Walmart that morning and walked around like nothing. Got all the ingredients and stuff like that, and then came back home. They wanted us to call the birth center to confirm that there was no one else in labor before we took it because they were certain that it would work, and they just want to make sure they had an opening. So got to go ahead, took it at 8 a.m. and I knew that I could make it again and take it again 4 hours later. So at like 8:30 I figured that's what I was probably going to end up doing because I didn't feel anything yet. Finally at like 9 o'clock contractions started, but they were really irregular. So I texted my mom, who lives about a half hour away, and said, hey, I'm having contractions, they're really irregular, just letting you know. So that was at 9, and then a little bit after that I decided I should probably get in the shower and get dressed and ready. In case today is the day, I want to make sure that I feel good. So got in the shower with Carter, and my contractions slowed down. So I thought, well, maybe this isn't labor. I'm gonna go ahead and just get dressed and ready, just in case. So I started drying my hair, and in the midst of drying my hair, they started getting really regular, and they were one on top of the other. So they were coming about every minute and a half, but they were only lasting like 30 seconds. So that's when Mandy called the midwife the first time, and she said to call back when they were lasting a minute, and that's when we could start heading that way.
Mind you, I was trying to get the midwife to tell me to bring her in because what appointment was it? She talked about being prepared and it could come quick. Anyway, she had me terrified that we were going to have this baby in the car because the birth center that we chose is like an hour away. And so I was like, nope, that's not going to happen. We need to get there. So I was, talking everything up to the midwife, and she just wasn't, she didn't think it was any big deal, that we still had lots of time. So
yeah. She said to have trash bags, towels, and a bowl in the car just in case at the previous appointment. This was on a Wednesday, and on Friday we were going to go in for another ultrasound to make sure that everything was fine. So we were really anxious to have him before we had to have that last ultrasound. So yeah, it was like 10:30ish, and we had gotten out of the shower. Contractions were coming really regularly, but again, only like 30 seconds. So I could walk and talk through them. I was doing okay. So I dried my hair, and then I went to start straightening my hair, and I just remember it being really, really hot and really uncomfortable, and my contractions were coming so regularly that I just was having a really hard time straightening my hair. And we had some friends in town at the time, and so one of them tried to help me straighten my hair a little bit, but it was just really difficult. And then Carter needed a nap, and he was still nursing at the time, so I tried to nurse him, give him a nap, but I was just really, really uncomfortable. They weren't super strong, but it was not fun to be nursing a 2-year-old while having consistent contractions. So eventually they started getting stronger. My mom was on the way, and I figured out that the most comfortable place was sitting on the toilet. And nothing from the waist down, and just sitting with my legs spread as wide as possible was like the only time I was semi-comfortable. So I was there for a while. And then my mom came, and our friends decided to leave because they figured this is probably the time, so they were gonna leave and come back, later on in the day. And Mandy was really trying to get us to go ahead and go to the birth center, like at least get in the car.
Like legit about to just carry her to the car, which would have been hard because we have stairs.
And I just said, I can't move. So Carter is asleep, taking a nap on the bed. The car's ready to go. My mom's there. Everybody's ready to go, except for I am not leaving that bathroom. So then I'm like, he's coming. Like, we're not going to make it to the birth center. I'm not getting in that car. That'll be horrendous. He's coming, and he's coming here. So Mandy started drawing the water and really flipping out. So she calls the midwife again, and the midwife has her check me. And so when she checked me, she said 2 inches, right?
Yeah.
So he felt like he was 2 inches up, but she could feel his head. And the midwife's like, oh, you have plenty of time.
It was not an accurate measurement, by the way. I tried.
So when I heard that we had plenty of time, I a little bit freaked out because I was like, there's no way that I'm going to make it much longer. And like pain-wise. And then started, I guess, heading to the car. Made it to the bed before I had another contraction. And I remember in that contraction, I felt like there's no way I can do this. And I told Mandy, I said, I can't do this. And she was like, yes, you can. You got it. So felt encouraged there. But Carter's still asleep on the bed. And I'm like, I thought we were leaving now. Like, he needs to get in the car seat. We got to go. So they get him to the car seat. I get into the passenger seat of the car. My mom's driving. Carter's in the back watching Mickey Mouse.
Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
Yeah. And Mandy is behind the passenger seat where I'm sitting. I had the air on full blast and spa music playing on XM radio.
Yeah.
And I felt more comfortable there than I did in the house. I think because I was so hot and the air felt so good.
And I don't know how, because her mom was driving like an effing maniac. Like, I don't even know how we got to where we did, because she legit, like, I drive fast. I don't mean to. It happens. But her mom was, I don't know. I just sat in the back and I was texting my family. My family does a lot of group messaging. We pretty much do it every day. And so I was in the back kind of updating them, like, hey, we're leaving the house, we're going. My sister, she was kind of like, she was going to come to the house, and then we were like, oh, wait, no, we're going to the birth center. Then I texted her back and told her, no, come back to the house, we're not going to make it. So we were going back and forth with them. And as her mom's driving, weaving, because it's pretty much all interstate, but there's a lot of construction going on.
Mm-hmm.
So Carter's just in the back watching, and I'm just texting the family to stay pretty much calm. And she's working through her stuff up front. Her mom's praying, and we're just driving. And
Mom's like having a panic attack.
Yes,
oh, and I forgot to mention, before we left the house, I was in the bathroom. We knew that we had a lot of time, and we had already called, or I had my mom call the birth photographer. Mm-hmm. And I told her to come to the house because I was convinced I was having him there. Well, then we needed her to go ahead and go to the birth center because it was change of plans. We were going to make it to the birth center. So Mom's talking to her but thinks that she's the midwife, not the birth photographer, and is giving her way too much information. And when we got off the phone, I told Mom who it was. She was so embarrassed. She was like, why do we need the birth photographer? I thought we were getting a midwife here. I was like, not if we have the baby here. The midwife's not coming here. So then my mom was all on board with getting me in the car with Mandy because she thought the midwife was coming to the house, but it was a birth photographer.
No, so we're, like I said, the birth center's like an hour away. We got about 45 minutes there, and her mom's like, should I pull over? Because she was saying, he's coming. And her mom didn't think we were going to make it. So she was like, should I pull over? And I was like, no, just keep driving. And her mom looks over and was like, well, his head's out. And I was like, well, shit. Okay, yeah, pull over. So she cuts across, pulls over. There's this poor guy that I guess is behind us thinking God knows what in his car. So he pulls over with us. I literally have enough time to get out, and I don't sit in the back seat. So the doors were locked. I couldn't figure out how to unlock them. got that unlocked, go to the front passenger door, it's locked, and she's like pushing out a baby, so she's not unlocking it. Her mom's freaking out, so it takes a minute to get unlocked, so we open the front door.
I don't even know who unlocked it.
I don't know.
I have no idea.
It wasn't me, because I was locked out, so maybe Jesus did, I don't know. But I opened the passenger door, and his head was out, so I just basically had time to, you know, put my hand on the back of his neck, and she gave one more push, and he came out right there on the side of the highway.
And I wasn't even really pushing. It was like, he was coming. Like, and there was no stopping it. I knew that for like maybe 3 contractions before his head came out, I felt like I needed to push, and I was resisting the urge to push. And then finally I was just like, these hurt so bad, and I really need to push him out. Like, he's coming right now. And I kept saying, he's coming, he's coming, he's coming. And they just kept saying, let's drive, let's drive. And we were still on the interstate, so I knew we weren't that close. So I was like, you know, he's coming now. And sure enough, he did.
Yeah, so I put him on her chest and went back out to call the midwife because my phone was in the back seat. First thing I see is her mom, like, still freaking out on the back, and the poor guy in the truck had gotten out of his truck and was walking up, basically like, you know, what's going on? I heard her mom say, we're having a baby, and here I come out with bloody hands, and I'm like, no, we're good. And he just turns around and walks to his truck, and he's like, I'm gonna call 911. And I was like, no, we're fine. So I called the midwife.
You had just called her.
Yeah, I literally just called her like 4 minutes before then. But I called her again. I was like, hey, he's here. He's crying, he's breathing, he's fine. I put him on her chest, and she said, okay, just keep him warm and come on into the birth center. So we get back in the car, and I'm pretty sure that poor truck guy's just mouth dropped when I just was like, we're leaving, and he's like, wait, what?
Like, you're not staying for an ambulance?
Yeah, because apparently that week there had been like 2 other highway births, but they all called 911, and ambulance came. There were big news stories, but we weren't trying to go to the hospital or anything. So,
yeah.
So we got back in the car and drove, and I took a picture of Dawson, and I sent it to the family. Which I sent them a message at 1:51, and that message said, I don't think we're gonna make it. And I sent them that picture at 1:55, so we were literally pulled over for less than 4 minutes. Because we had already started back on the highway, and I was like, oh wait, I didn't take a picture. So yeah, and we'll show y'all some clips of the aftermath and some pictures at the birth center.
Just keep him covered, though, that's what she said. Okay. Oh, baby did it. I love you.
I love you. Everything good? Okay. It's okay. Yeah, and so the first time she calls the midwife, it was like 1:50 or something like that. And she calls them, and they're like, we know you're on the way, we're drawing the water. And then they called back to see how close we were, or they called the first time, and they said they were drawing the water. And then she called 5 minutes later and was like, he's here. And they were like, okay, well, we'll be outside waiting.
Yeah, that birth center was awesome. I don't even know what kind of mess we made. I just know after we got to the birth center, got situated, in the 15-minute drive, she didn't deliver the placenta, so got that taken care of at the birth center. And then after all that and things were calm, I went out to get, you know, the hospital bag and everything. And I went out, when I came back in, I was like, wow, we really didn't make a big mess. Like, we did good. And the birth center had already cleaned our car, apparently. Yeah. He was, so they weighed him and everything. He was 8 pounds, 10 ounces. And what the birth center say he measured, it was
20
wrong.
inches, but like the next day he was 20 and a half.
or 20 3/4, I think.
Yeah, so we say he's 20 and a half.
Yeah, 'cause I don't think he grew overnight like that.
Right.
And surprising, he had a head full of hair.
Yeah.
We were not expecting. We had already had a onesie that said "No hair, don't care," because everyone in her family comes out bald. Carter was bald, and everything was good. His body temperature was a little low, just because of how long we were in the car. But through it all, Carter didn't react any kind of way. He kept watching his Mickey Mouse. He would look up and be like, "Okay, we know."
When we got there, Mom went and played with him in the little playroom while I delivered the placenta and tried to nurse Dawson and all that stuff. Carter, there's a picture of Carter from the birth photographer. He's just playing with the train. Nothing's really happening. But he wouldn't have anything to do with Dawson until Dawson was clean. So once and we didn't give him a bath or anything, but once we like wiped him down and all that stuff, then Carter was happy to hold him and
we got to the birth center at like 2:10, and everything checked out, so they were ready to discharge us right at around 4. But there was a tornado warning in the area, so we had to wait out the tornado warning. I don't think 1 touchdown. So then, which was what, 4:15ish, I think we were back home.
We were like,
a little
we're
after
just gonna
5.
go. We think we're fine. We're just gonna go. So we left. And yeah, we were home by like 5-ish.
Yeah.
Took our picture at the front door.
It was definitely an interesting day.
It was.
So we, the car he was born in, we were actually leasing it at the time, but since he was born in it, now we own it.
Yep.
We felt the need to buy it, so we have that car now. So that is Dawson Coyne Campbell's birth story.
Yep. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll be back with more videos very soon.
And I'm sure he'll be in them. He's just apparently sleeping every time we do these. So, but he's very got a
quieter,
big personality. So.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Thanks for watching.